Here, this is all my Cool J, and we're back here again with another episode. This episode is called Drug Dealers Preposterous. Now, if you need a clue, let me have this clip play for you right now. And
My husband was a drug dealer. For 14 years, he sold.
Yep, that's about it. Thank you, Tommy, for that skit. You still ain't shit. I'm still not fucking with you. But please, don't have this taken down off SoundCloud. Now, let's continue. Now, this episode is based off a conversation that I had with a couple of friends, like maybe a week or two ago. I've been wanting to talk on this topic because this generation is amazing, and certain people from my generation are pretty fucking stupid. But this is what I was talking with a couple of my friends that are in the life, out the life, used to be in that life, used to be about that life, and are tired of that life. Now, get this clear. This isn't no ghetto Quran. I ain't snitching here. I ain't dropping no names. Just, I might rap myself out a little bit, but you know, for the podcast, do it for the gram, do it for the ratchets. Now, yeah, moving forward. Now, as I stated, this conversation came up, and there's a lot of topics that I want to talk about, but let's get into my first one, which is my first time I even tried to sell drugs. Not decided to sell drugs, but tried to sell drugs. I had like some weed, nothing crazy. If the feds is listening, it's like, what the hell did I have? It was so long ago. My first bag I ever sold. Yeah, I think it was like a dime. I think I had a dime bag of Reggie. That Reggie Bush. Not even real shit. Shit was a joke. Got blessed with a couple of bags to move. Decided to move it. The first bag was the hardest to sell because I didn't want to sell to my friends because they still had connections to my family, and I didn't want nothing really to get out there. So how can I break this down? You remember Paid in Full when Ace is in the hallway and the Fiend came around and he was like mad nervous and shook, and he was just like, yo, can I really sell to this motherfucker? But hey, I got the product to sell, so why not? So it was kind of like that. It was like Ace in the hallway in the lobby of his building. It wasn't even a lobby. It was just a little small ass corridor. But continuing on, did the sale, right? Nervous. I was mad nervous. I was like, shit, what if he's a cop? And I'm like, nah, he doesn't look like a cop because cops dress a certain way. Cops dress outdated, and it's like a joke. You can spot them so quickly. But yeah, fucking nervous. I had like, what I said, a dime or a nick? I can't remember. I have bad memory. Whatever I had, I got talked down the price because it was skimpy. Now, this wasn't any of my paraphernalia, so I was like, yo, you know what? I got it off the love. Here it go. Kind of liked it, kind of didn't like it. I'm somebody that thinks about the fucking the risk, the punishments. I take all of that into fucking mind. So I ain't playing that game. So yeah, that's basically the first time I ever tried to do it. I wasn't about that life, allegedly. Nah, let me erase that. Let's go back. I'm not about that life here. Any feds, I was never about that life. All right. Now, I want to get into, if you're a young street entrepreneur coming up, or you want to be a street entrepreneur coming up, listen to this podcast, but also take in the warnings you're about to hear. And it's some pretty decent advice, because there are some people that are older than me that are still selling drugs, and they're still selling like they're still selling weed. You're supposed to move the weight. Like, you can't go from, you're supposed to go from selling nicks to selling weight, right? Like Tommy just said, you can't be in the game for 14 years just selling weed. I understand. No, you can't. Yeah, fuck it. I understand there's less of a charge there, but fuck it, yo. You gotta, like, sometimes you gotta take that risk. It's all the same fucking charge. At the end of the day, you're still in jail for the amount of weed you have to move to, like, catch up with liquid heroin, crack, or whatever. Might as well just take that risk. But I don't mean to sound like a dick. I'm not encouraging you to sell drugs or telling you it's the right thing to do, but shit, just step it up. Next thing that comes in, what everybody does that I always see done, a lot of people fuck up their re-up because they have poor money management, right? Now, if you, like as I stated earlier, if you've seen Paid in Full, right, you know this Mitch, aka Rich Porter. Now Rich was out here, alright? Now Rich was out here, right? Riding around in Saabs with gold BBSs, a couple of Beamers, all this shit, right? But at the end of the day, right, he was going to sleep in like a twin bed. That's hustling backwards. Now, I've read his story. No, I didn't even read the story. To be honest, I just know what Rich Porter from like Paid in Full. I really know Alpo's story. We're gonna get to him later. A lot of this shit has to do with Paid in Full. But like, yeah, I really know Alpo's story like that. I never read the Rich Porter story. I know AZ's story, but yeah. If he was really living like that, yeah, you were doing not enough. You were fucking around. And yeah, you can't hustle backwards. Like, especially if you got family. The whole purpose I would think, if you selling drugs, is to like get out your neighborhood, get out your predicament. You're just not out here selling drugs just to sell drugs. And if that's the case, you're just fucking stupid. But yeah, the best thing I could tell people when you get into this lifestyle is yo, stay low key. That's what it really is about, being low key. Like, how can I say this? There's a lot of shit that interwebs with everything, but it's gonna sound like I'm repeating a lot, but everything goes into each other, so stay with me. All right, but when I say stay low key is that don't pull that Frank Lucas move, which he technically didn't. It just happened. But a lot of these young dudes nowadays, they just fucking wild out with their money. As soon as they get money, the first thing they do is buy clothes, buy chains, buy watches, buy cars, and they still live in the projects. Back to management again. And I'm not gonna spot you that easily out of everybody there. Like, you're in a fucking neighborhood that has no real money in it, but you're driving around in a Beamer. That's fucking retarded. Like I was saying, stay low key. You ever heard of Rick Ross? Freeway Rick Ross, not that fat bastard from Miami with chicken lemon wings. Yeah, that guy. That guy's a joke. Now, he's a joke as opposed to stealing somebody's. How can I say this? He stole somebody else's lifestyle. He stole somebody else's name and ran with it and made money with it. Now, don't get me wrong. Rick Ross, the rapper, is doing shit with his money, investing into the community, and I respect that. And I guess the same argument can be said about 50 Cent, because nobody really knew about the shooter from Brooklyn by the name of 50 Cent. But yeah, we're going back to that topic again. But yeah, back to Freeway Ricky Ross. He was like a real dude. He ran real shit. Police didn't even know who he was or what he looked like for maybe 5 to 10 years. Police didn't know who he looked like. Police would raid. Like, there was like a task force, right? And you ever seen those movies where they have like the criminal bulletin, and they have all these pictures and all these groups and all these names, but at the top where the kingpin should be, it was a question mark. Nobody knew who this person was, because there was rumors going out that he was making a vast amount of money. And I think he even quoted, I think I'm paraphrasing what he said, I've made $3 million in a day. That's fucking wild for somebody that doesn't have a real education, is from the streets. But yeah, he wasn't out here dressing like a fucking moron either. He wasn't riding around in BMWs and whenever. All right, let me correct this. He was about that life, but he also was like, he knew when to fall back. Like, when he could spend money and like he was living that lavish life, he was nowhere near the hood. The best thing I ever heard was in The Wire, right? And they went from The main thing of selling drugs in your neighborhood is to get out your neighborhood. Now, if you could get out your neighborhood while selling drugs, the best thing you could do is live in another neighborhood, a rich neighborhood, and still push this weight out here. But you don't have to actually be involved with the shit in there. And that's the kind of level Rick Ross fucking achieved, where he could still live lavish, he could still go out, he could still pull out BMWs, but he was of A-list celebrities and shit. So it looked like the norm. But when he came back to the hood, when he went down, oh yeah, he held down LA crazy. He was around for those NWA days when the cops came with the battering tank and knocked down doors. Yeah, but yeah, when he was in the hood, right, all these like small-time drug dealers, that's how I'm talking about management, they would be next to their BMWs, gold chains sticking out, like sore thumbs. Yo, it would be amazing, because I seen his documentary, and he talks about all this shit, and he'll be like, yo, this guy's out here with a Beamer, he looks wild, this guy's out here in this shit, and like they're in the roughest of neighborhoods, as I stated earlier, and like you're out here sticking out like that. So police would go and raid. They would knock down doors. He would be like next to the BMW in front. He would be behind the BMW, right? Chilling. This is the connect, right? This is the person that you talk to for all this shit. And guess what? They're raiding the drug dealer because he's pulling up in a hoopty with like a bummy white t-shirt, just chilling. And it's just like, how can I say this? He looks like a fiend. That's it. He looks like somebody that actually belongs in that neighborhood, right? He looks like he's not up to any bad. He's just a fucking guy that's chilling in the car. And so when the police would come knocking or doing these raids while he's there, they would let him go 9 times out of 10 times. And this happened for years. And nobody ever put 2 and 2 together. Like, yo, each time we fucking come here, this guy is in this section, or he's seen, but nobody knows who he is until later down the line. The only reason they found out is because he had a real government connect. Like, he was getting his bricks from Panama. He was wilding. Like, he had like government connects, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it happens. It doesn't always happen. That's why I say you got to go from selling nicks to actually moving weight to get a little bit further in this life. Because look where it got him. It got him a huge connect. Now what it also got him, this was the negative that I'm about to state, he got 20 to life when he got bagged. So, no, I'm lying. He didn't get 20 to life. He got life. They sent him to jail. They locked the door. And he was done. And I respect him, not because he was making money or he was doing all this shit, people were getting killed. That shit's not respectable. But unlike a lot of fucking drug dealers in this world, there's only like a few, he didn't snitch. And the reason he didn't snitch, because he had nobody to snitch on, because he was one of the top dogs. I always say, if you're gonna be a drug dealer, drug kingpin, whatever, you can't fucking snitch. You are a fucking piece of shit if you do snitch. Because you know who was a great snitch? Fucking that Frank Lucas guy, right? He gave up his family. You brought your family into this shit, and now they're gonna be like, all right, this person does this person does that. You're a fucking piece of shit. But like I was saying, yo, he got life. He was able to talk it down, get it to 20 years for all the shit you've done. Isn't that bad? I'm just stating that. That's actual fact. There was people murdered behind all this shit. Yo, it's the drug game. If you don't know the drug game comes with violence and murder and death, then I don't know what fairy tale you're living in. But that's the way it normally goes. So he got life. He was able to knock it down to 20 years because guess what? His government connects. They were found out, and he was able to be tied to everything. So if those people were bugging out, guess what? It opened up the door for him to countersuit, and like he didn't really like snitch. It was just like, hey, these guys are kind of using me too. Like they're already going down. Like, yo, can I get a break here? And he got let go. Not really let go. He got the 20 years still. Which also brings me to another thing, the opposite of what Freeway Ricky Ross was. And we go to being on top. And I see a lot of people make this mistake. I see a lot of rappers that go from the drug game make this mistake too. You get too cocky. You start talking about shit. And the biggest person that I know that was like infamous for talking shit in the drug world game, that fucking went on magazines and said I have more money than the fucking president and said they'll never ever get me. Nicky Barnes, these drug dealers gotta learn how to humble themselves. Like, if I know I'm making like a crazy amount of money, and this comes down to being braggadocious, and it's just like, why would I put that on me? Like, I know what I'm getting. Everybody knows who I am. Politicians know who I am. Fucking actors, fighters, everybody knows who the fuck I am. And technically, I'm a fucking nobody. I'm just some guy that peddles drugs here, but everybody knows who the fuck I am. And it's just like, really? Oh, the New York Times called. Oh yeah, let me go and do this interview and talk all this shit. Like, I think it was Ronald Reagan at the time. Yeah, I think it was Reagan. Reaganomics was like, you know what? Let's go shut that shit down. Well, it brings me to another topic, because he falls into this topic too, but he had like, I don't know if his circumstances really accommodate his reason for snitching. Because Nicky Barnes did snitch, but we need to stop glorifying these snitches, right? Paid in full, right? Paid in full drop. We found out Cameron snitched. He didn't snitch on nobody from Harlem. I said Cameron. Alpo snitched, and he didn't snitch on nobody from Harlem, but he snitched on dudes in Baltimore, Philly, and all these other places, right? Now, snitching is snitching at the end of the day, right? Sometimes your crew is supposed to hold you down. There's supposed to be certain loyalty. We'll be getting back to that too. Sometimes they don't. Now, certain crews, they have a prison clause, right? Where if your old lady... Wait, let me take it back. Rewind that back. They have a prison clause, right? Where your old lady can sleep with somebody else if you're doing like a really long bid, right? That's a clause in certain groups. Not every group, and it wasn't in Nicky Barnes' group because he was in the commission. Oh, I'm not snitching on none of these people either. Just saying, because this shit's already out there. So if you guys are feeling a certain way, fuck off. But yeah, he had the commission. He went away. He was cool with taking all the weight, taking all the blame, everything, right? The commission played him. They said, all right, we're gonna fuck your wife, treat her like shit, blah, blah, blah. And I got back to him. That was his reason for snitching, right? Then you have Frank Lucas, got caught. He was the head of this shit, started snitching. And these guys are fucking praised. If you don't believe so, look at Jay-Z, American Gangster, based off that fucking album. Then you got Harlem American Gangster, right? By Jimmy Jones and Dame Dash. But they cleared shit up at the end. They were like, look, man, once you snitch, that shit is finished, right? Everything you've done is erased. There is nothing cool to be said about you, even though it's really not fucking cool. But all that shit, all those cars, money, girls, it doesn't mean shit, because at the end of the day, you snitched. And at the end of the day, the snitch is less than shit. So it's erased. You're nothing, right? But going back to Dame, this motherfucker was bigging up Alpo like Alpo ain't snitch. Just because you ain't snitch on nobody from Harlem doesn't mean that everything's all cool and sweet. Because if he ever decides to get back into that lifestyle, you can't trust that man for shit. But moving on. This is something separate. Wait, no. Let's go back. Let's backtrack. I got a list right now. I'm not very organized. I'm all over the place. I know. We're talking about loyalty right now, right? Because it ties back to Nicky Barnes. Now, when you start off and you want to get bigger in your britches, go places, you need a real crew. Like, you need somebody that's gonna hold you down, right? Tony had that horse face dude, right? What's his name? Shit. Carlito had Pachanga. The dude with some shatas had that guy with the fucking tarantula on his head. I keep forgetting his name. Shit. Him, I forget his name. I didn't like shatas. But Rich had AZ, right? And it's just like, you always need somebody there that's gonna hold you down, right? So that's the point of picking out your crew at loyalty. Now, Rich had AZ, but they also brought in Alpo, and we all know how that went. Frank Lucas, his cousin, kind of like fell into the trap, so he started snitching him out there, and then he took the rest of the family out. So it's all about loyalty. Who you playing to? Who do you put that much faith in this game? And it's not really a game; it's real life. But yeah, like, you just got to think about that shit, because sometimes shit goes wrong, and they look for a way out. And like, you don't even have to be like the head dude in charge. Like, you could be like the pawn, the guy at the bottom. But like, all right, the cops need some leverage, because you know when you're at that top of the game, you better have some like cops, commissioners, some politicians in your pocket, or else what's the point? But it's just like, all right, we need to hand off something little, so hand out this person, and so on and so forth, and it goes like that. And it's just wild. Also, a lot of these guys don't have end games. It's amazing that they don't have end games. Back to Tommy's ignorant ass, right? You can't be a drug dealer for 14 years. That's wild. And the reason I encourage people to sell actual weight and stop bullshitting with nicks and dimes is because you'll have a chance, if you're smart, to get out the game quicker, right? Like, you can't be selling drugs for 14 years and have nothing to show for it. Also, it's a joke if you don't have an end game. Then it's like you only have two options. Either I'm gonna die in this game, or I'm going to jail, right? Now, there are some people that I heard of. They had an end game. They weren't stupid. They put their dirty money into businesses. They open up businesses, whether it's a club, laundromat. You guys seen Power. That shit is real. That's having an end game. And it's smart to have an end game. Because once you... drug dealing is an art, right? You learn shit on the go that people go to school to learn, right? You learn negotiations. You learn trading. You learn import, export, if you're on that level. You learn chemistry, because making crack is fucking crazy. Making meth is fucking crazy. It's just like, that shit's all achievable to learn in the street, and you could take that talent somewhere else, because it does take talent to be a real drug dealer. Like, I'm not talking about that guy that owns 2 or 3 blocks and talks about, I'm gonna die for my neighborhood. Man, white people own those blocks. You still don't own shit. When people get real money, they buy the neighborhood. And they don't flood it with drugs either. It's just smart. It's just smart thinking. The end game is always where it's at. The end game is what you really want. If you want a family, you want kids, you don't want to go to jail, get sexually assaulted, you don't want to get murdered by your best friend or whatever, your enemy, then you need an end game. It's just smart. Like, that small time thinking isn't where it's at. It's just amazing, because I hear some of these young bucks talk, and I'll try to school them, but it's like going in one ear and out the other, and like, they just don't want to hear it. They're here for that action. They're here for that fast money, and fast money goes pretty quick. Just as fast as you get it is as fast as it goes. And then, hey, when shit goes wrong, when your team starts going to jail, when some of your people in your team start dying, when people in your family get kidnapped, don't get it twisted. That shit happens a lot. Especially, I almost missed the topic. We'll get back to that. Let me finish this rant. Yeah. When shit starts hitting the fan, guess what you become? You start taking your product. You gotta listen to Biggie, never get high on your own supply, because this is where you fuck up at. Now you're a slave to the thing that you started doing. But end games is where it's at. I'm telling you, don't be fucking stupid. If you do decide to get into this lifestyle, I'm not telling you to get into this lifestyle. Disclaimer right now, because I don't need my shit getting shut down. Right now, this is what started this whole podcast. This is the reason I started like doing this episode, because I had a conversation with people, and certain people don't understand the difference between a cartel and a carter. Now, a cartel, you make drugs, you plant drugs, you farm drugs, you distribute drugs. Drugs. You don't never go see nobody else about drugs, because you are the real fucking drug dealer. Now, you have the carter. Now, if you don't know what the carter is, shit, you need to go watch New Jack City. And by carter, I mean your own complex, right? That means your Bendo, your trap house, your brick house, the crack house, the whatever house, whatever fucking place it is. That's what I'm talking about. Your carter. Now, side note, if you have a Bendo or a trap house, right, don't stick out like a fucking moron and have the most shittiest house that people go light up at or fucking cut up drugs at, and then spend all this money on your fucking gate, and then spend all this money on your door, and then spend all this extra money on cameras, right? Yeah, that's a huge fucking sign Ronald McDonald saying, please, we're doing something illegal here. You should probably check us out, right? Back to it. Carter. Now, a carter is a big ass Bendo, right? People could come here, they could smoke. It's on a massive level. If you saw New Jack City, this guy basically, Nino Brown, basically took a fucking whole building complex and turned it into a Bendo. Now, the reason I bring this up is because my boys are saying, oh, what was it again? The cartel. He was talking about the Cartel Boys, right? The cartel is a group called. Hold up, I ain't saying no names. You almost got me. But let's just say the Cartel Boys, right? But they got a carter. You can't. I'm like, as I just stated earlier, if you go see a man to go buy drugs from, to get your keys from, then you are not a cartel. You are still a buyer. You're no different from the fiend that's buying from you, except you're not using it. You should be smart enough not to be using it. And I hate having this conversation because people don't seem to understand the point of a cartel. Now, a cartel isn't basically like some Mexican shit. They just have the name for some reason. Because there are African cartels, there's Iranian cartels, excuse me. I think there's some Jewish, Israeli cartels. I just stated that. There's Iranian cartels. This shit's all over the place. I'm pretty sure Canada has a cartel, right? Right. But if you're, like I said, they're into distributing. They are the head person, right? It makes no sense. This is like a joke. Like if your product runs out, guess what? Your carter gets shut down, right? If you go to jail, your carter gets shut down. If a cartel gets shut down, right? No. Let me backtrack. If you go to jail, your carter gets shut down, and your neighborhood, right, stops getting drugs from you, or somebody else picks up the slack. If a cartel gets cut down, that shit gets cut down. The streets is hurting. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's on hold till the next power structure gets into place. And I fucking hate that I have to explain that shit because it should be pretty self-explanatory. But this is what started the conversation. I was arguing with people. People weren't grasping the idea. And it was just annoying. But it started this fucking episode and I fucking love it. So this is all my Cool J. This has been Drug Dealers Preposterous? Because there's a lot of flagrant shit. Wait, did I miss anything? Oh yeah, glorifying snitches. I almost missed out on this too. Ah, fuck it. I don't feel like going back for it. Yeah, this has been all my Cool J. I'm about to run out of time here. And this was Drug Dealers Preposterous. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of funny shit going on out there. And I just wanted to talk on it. I hope y'all enjoyed this. If y'all did enjoy this, please like, comment, share. I have been on my Cool J. Peace.